So I woke up and I heard my mom had like Benny on the TV, and I heard some shit about it, and like I kind of want to watch a video on it. This is the one that we got though. We got to Asmongold. 52 minutes, guys. It's 52 minutes. It's 52 minutes. Here's the question, guys. Can we make it 2 hours? Can we make it 2 hours?
Jeez. Oh God! I saw this yesterday at the end of the.
Really? Anthony Karmelo accused. Okay, so a little. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because I actually haven't been following the guys. I've been like so busy that like a lot of stuff has happened, and I didn't really catch it. Here's how I understand it. Okay, there was a guy in a tent at a school track meet. The other guy, I guess Anthony Carmelo. So the first guy was Austin Metcalf. The second guy is Anthony Karmelo. He was inside of a tent that he was not supposed to be in. It was like not his tent, basically. The other guy tells him to get out, and then something along the lines of like he didn't want to get out, and then the other guy like walked up to him and basically pressured him to get out. And then the other guy said, like, hit me, see what happens, basically. And then so the other guy pushed him, just tried to push him out of the tent, and then he pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart. Is that correct? Okay. Touch me and see what happens. Okay. So I'm not a lawyer, but I do know about self-defense because I carry a gun. Correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot instigate the event that leads to self-defense. Because that's what everyone's claiming. Everyone's claiming it's self-defense, but you cannot say something like, touch me and see what happens. Like, that's basically instigating the situation. Yeah, proportional reaction to self-defense needs to be at the same level of aggression. Yeah. So like, I'm trying to like parse this in my head because like from what I heard, again, like I'm not super knowledge on this situation because I've been busy with stuff, but a lot of people are claiming that like, well, if you're okay with Rittenhouse, you have to be okay with this guy. But just based on like what I heard of the situation, if that's true, again, if that's true, I don't know. I don't know the details, right? If that's true, it's not even remotely the same situation. So here's a couple. Let me give you a couple a couple reasons why it's not the same situation. There's multiple. One, the instigation factor that we talked about before. You can't instigate the situation that leads to you having to do self-defense, basically. Number two is there's an issue of proportional force. So like so basically in this situation, you're talking a 1v1 between two men. 1v1 between two men who are both able-bodied, I assume, because they're at the track meet, right? And there was no threat of death. Like I guess he grabbed him or something to like push him out of the tent because he was in the wrong place where he wasn't supposed to be. Is that proportional to like escalate to deadly force like with a knife at that point? I don't think it is. Right, now let's switch that and let's talk about the situation. You might say, oh well, what happened with Rittenhouse? So let's like talk about Rittenhouse. I know a little bit more about the Rittenhouse situation. Okay, he had the gun for self-defense. He wasn't like brandishing it at anyone, right? He just had it like kind of slung. I'm pretty sure he had it slung. He was being chased by a crowd, so it's not a 1v1 anymore. There's like a lot of people. Proportional force is kind of dumb. Remember that guy at the mall that shot the prankster? No, that wasn't proportion. That wasn't proportion. No, that was correct because the other guy was way bigger than him and there was two of them. But he didn't warn him. No, they came at him aggressively though. Do you see the difference? He came at them. The two guys in the food court came after that guy aggressively. Sorry, when I say proportional force, I mean what I mean by that is proportional force to like the situation. I don't mean like literal proportional force as in like the defender has this and the attacker has this. That's not what I mean. Let me make it a lot more clear. It's actually a lot more simple than that. I'm complicating it a little bit. Let me make it a little more simple. The actual thing that you need is a clear fear for your life. Does that make sense? A clear fear for your life that causes you to escalate to deadly force. Do you see what that's the actual thing? Yeah, a reasonable fear a reasonable fear for your life, to which it necessitates the escalation to deadly force. That's the actual thing, or serious harm. Yes. Well, the difference between serious harm and your life is like it's close, right? Because you don't know, right? So in the case of like Rittenhouse, just like going to the case of Rittenhouse, he had like an entire mob chasing him, an entire mob of people chasing him, and they were like throwing shit at him, and like to be completely honest, like I think Rittenhouse showed actually crazy levels of restraint. Like for a dude that was getting mobbed, like the level of restraint that he had was crazy. Yeah, they even knocked him to the ground before he shot, and like he waited for the guy. He waited like and he saw a gun, and then he shot him. Like it's actually crazy. Legendary presence of mind. Yeah, exactly. Well, the problem is like once you have a lot of people, even if like each individual person, like you don't know what they're gonna do, right? If they're gonna take your gun, if they're gonna like mob you, and then they're all gonna beat you up. Like he couldn't let himself get to the point of being surrounded. And again, taking the case of like the mall guy. The mall guy had a person like that was big. I believe he was bigger than him. He wasn't brandishing. He was shoving a rifle. No. Sorry. Brandishing is when you okay. Brandishing is when you threateningly reveal the weapon. Basically, that's what. Let me like look it up just so it's easier. Yes, basically, brandishing is when you either draw or you show a weapon in a rude, angry, or threatening manner unlawfully, basically. So it's like, okay, so for example, you ever seen in like movies where two people will get into an argument and then like one person will show that they have a gun. They'll like lift up their shirt and they'll show that they have a gun to get the other person to shut up. That's brandishing. Does that make sense? It's basically an implied threat. So like if you showed your friend a gun, that's not brandishing, right? Anyway, sorry, going back to the topic. If he's like, first off, could he be afraid of deadly force in that case? I mean, I guess not, because I guess regardless of if he actually feared for his life, I suppose you could say, which just seems weird to me. Like in the case of like I guess two unarmed dudes who are both like able-bodied, it's a little hard to make that claim, I think, especially, but I think like it's already discounted by the fact that he provoked, right? The provoke basically already makes it like not good. Anyway, let's keep going here.
Show. Oh, what were they thinking? Look who it is.
Wait, they lowered his bond from 1 million to 250K. Wait, why?
Look who it is.
For what reason?
We're up.
Can I start again? Yeah, I can. Wait, you didn't like all that talk about self-defense, Julio? You don't like that? I'm gonna go in? Damn. That's unfortunate. I thought it was a good tangent. I thought it was relevant.
Geez. Oh, God. I saw this yesterday at the end of the show. Oh, what were they thinking? Look who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Look who it is.
We're up.
Probably one of the worst decision makers in America right now. I would say probably the #1 worst decision not number one. Probably.
It's a little bit crazy, like, to be in the wrong. Do we know what he was doing in the other tent? Did he say anything? Did he say why? Did he say why he was in the other tent? He just fucked up, basically, or what?
Top 5 worst decision maker in America.
Also, can we talk about the fact that he had like he had a knife on at a school event? That's kind of crazy. Is no one talking about that?
How do you stab somebody in broad daylight in front of everybody?
Yeah.
Why can't you just wait till they're walking out of the track meet in the dark and then run away?
Who hasn't had a knife at school? Me? What?
Like, you didn't even try not to get caught. Like, there's no
Bro,
sense of self-preservation at all. What an idiot, man. They already bought an $800 mansion. I'm gonna look into this and we're gonna talk about it. So I heard murder. I mean, the dude's literally holding his hand. Well, I mean, of course he's holding his hand. Like they're just trying to get him around from like point A to point B, because that's what their job is. But anyway, this guy went and he stabbed. Like I think honestly, I think this is like one of the biggest L's of the year. Like, I'm gonna be real, it really is. What actual privilege looks like. Yeah, not only the fact he had bail.
Dude, can you imagine if it was flipped and the white guy stabbed the black guy like that? Dude, there's no fucking way this would happen. He would be fucking crucified in front of the media. It would be insane, actually. In fact, there would probably be a protest right now. There would have been a protest yesterday.
Judge lowered it. The judge lowered his bail. Like, why would you lower the dude? Like, if you stab somebody in the chest with a knife, like, you know who does that? Like a Mayan priest. Like, we're going back.
This is the fucking Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
The conquistador days at this point. What the hell are we talking about letting somebody like that go? Oh my God. Yeah, look at the judge. It doesn't, like, I know people, because the judge is black and he's black, they think that it's preferential treatment that's racially based. The fact is that it's impossible for me to know whether that's the case, but I'll tell you this. If it was a white judge and a white guy, people said the same fucking thing about Kyle Rittenhouse, except for Kyle Rittenhouse was actually in the right.
Yep.
So the fact is,
people went fucking insane over the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, like crazy.
Anytime that you have any interaction between two people, everybody is going to look at it from this direction. So let me see if I can pull.
Dude, and then like Kyle was like crying and Kyle was like crying and like freaking out on the stand. And everyone was like, oh, look at this melodrama. Look at him acting. Like, bro, he fucking had to shoot people. Like, what you're like making him relive like one of the most fucked up days of his life. And you're like, look at him, like, all being upset about it. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what?
This up and talk about it. And it's been really, really fucking embarrassing. I don't even know where it is. Anthony Karmelo. I guess I can just search it here. But, yeah, just give me 1 second. And there it is. Let's go ahead. Was released. This is it. And so, anyway, think of white privilege, check your white privilege. Yeah, I mean, this is insane. Summary of the events. So basically, this is what happened.
Okay, here we go.
It's kind of crazy.
Here we go. Let's see this.
And summary of events of Karmelo Anthony. This is incredible. Trespassed onto another team's tent.
Okay,
was
I heard
told
that.
to leave.
Yup.
Stabbed and killed the kid in response.
So again, like there's a little bit of important stuff in here, right? The other guy told him to leave, and then I guess he didn't want to leave, because if he was told to leave, he would just leave. If he actually was like, oh, I'm in the wrong tent, he would have just left, right? But apparently he actually pushed the issue to the point where the other guy was like approaching him, and then he said like, was it touch me, see what happens, basically, right? So like that stuff happened within there, and again, like I don't know like how true that account of what happened is. We're gonna see it probably in court, so we'll know. We'll figure it out.
Black people raise $500K in his legal defense. I'm not about using this as a race thing personally. I think there's plenty of white people that gave him money too.
Yeah.
His bail gets reduced down to $250K, and this is the best part. You ready for this? The parents buy a new mansion.
No fucking way, dude. No. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to think for a bit. Okay, guys. A little bit critically. Did they already have the means before this? Could they have been buying this before this happened? What was their living condition? Do we know that for sure? They seem to have been well off. That's what I was thinking. Is it possible it's actually unrelated? Yeah, see, I'm trying not to immediately pass judgment here, because okay, so it's possible that they weren't poor. That everyone's assuming that they're poor. I'm not. That's why I'm thinking about the situation. Did they already have the money? Were they already kind of living in this sort of situation before this happened? And then because them saying that our old house became unsafe, that tracks with like a murder investigation. So we're looking here. So apparently before the stabbing occurred, his parents already lived in a $900,000 home, rented, of course. But apparently they already lived there. Apparently they already lived in a nice house already in the first place. So the dad testified in court that he's the sole breadwinner of the household. Let me look up the sources, guys. I wanna make sure that this thing isn't fucked. Okay, so a lot of the criticism is that so their lifestyle was in contrast to the cash struggles that they were saying that they had in court. Well, the thing is okay, here's the thing though, is 1 million is still a lot more than 250,000, even if you have a lot of money. So like, even if you're like you're not super poor, like, you know, even if you are middle class, there's a drastic difference between 250,000 and 1 million, for sure. Okay, so his family doesn't have access to the money raised. Yeah, so he says that he didn't even get the money yet. So so Anthony's father, he claims that he didn't even get the money yet from GiveSendGo, which is where he got the $450,000 for legal fees, which like I can totally see them needing for this kind of a case. But you know, money is fungible, right? It's fungible. So like, if that's the case, that's money that he wouldn't have to use for the legal defense of his kid, and then he could use that for the house. But like, let's try to think critically here. So if you are living in if you are middle class, let's assume that they are middle class in the first place, and your kid commits like this crazy crime, allegedly, you know, it's going to go to court and stuff, and you were getting harassed by a lot of people, you probably would want to move somewhere safer. And they did move to a gated community. So that kind of does track with the statement of, well, we wanted to move somewhere safer because we were getting harassed. Because these kind of things that are like, you know, people try to make it racial, you are going to get a lot of crazy people that are going to say like, yo, I'm going to kill you, right? You're going to get people like that. 900K houses aren't middle class. I guess it depends where you live. It depends where you live, but they don't own it, Ghostlim, they're renting. So, but that is a lot. Yeah, that is a lot of money. It's not really, it's like upper middle class, 900K. That's not that crazy. Yeah, guys, nowadays, 900K isn't like, guys, $1 million home nowadays is not like a fucking giga mansion. Like, it's not. It's not. In fact, if you live in California, that's like nothing, basically. That's like a small ass, like 1-bedroom place in San Francisco. See, I mean, that's why I moved, right? Because it was really fucking expensive. Yeah, touch me and see what happens, is what he said, allegedly. Yeah, it's hard to find. Like, I'm trying to find like. So is the Lexus what he bought for the birthday? Is that the car they just bought? Was a Lexus? Mentioned financial struggles, which can apply some strain despite other. Yeah, but you can have okay, guys. There's a lot going on here. Okay, so one thing that they said in court is that they were having financial struggles. Here's the thing, though. You can have financial struggles even if you're middle class, even if you're upper middle class, right? Because say you are upper middle class and some kind of financial situation changed in your life that made it harder to maintain the same lifestyle, then you would be having financial struggles, right? You see what I'm saying? No. But that's what he said in court. We're trying to guys. I just want to be clear. Like, I'm not. If you were to ask me for my opinion right now, I think it's homicide. Like, at the very minimum, that's what I think. And it's because you can't claim self-defense when you provoke the situation. But I'm trying to understand the actual situation here, because this is the claim. The claims are that they bought a new mansion with legal defense money, and that they got a bunch of money from these places for his legal defense, and then in order to reduce the bail, the father basically in court mentioned that they had financial struggles. So like, that's the situation, okay? So even if let's say that they were like kind of middle upper class, which I don't see any proof that they were poor. Is there any proof that he was poor? Because having financial struggles doesn't equal poor. Does that make sense? They were definitely at least middle class. Yeah, apparently. They were not poor. The family was relatively wealthy, says Super Saiyan Vegeta. Okay. So understanding that, let's assume that they're like they're middle class, upper middle class. Even in that case, right, that you are that, you can be having financial struggles because of the economy or whatever. Like something could have happened in the family to give you financial struggles, which makes it hard to maintain like the same standard of living that you had the whole time. So you would say that were having financial struggles even in that case, right? Living beyond your means, we don't know that. We don't know that because it's possible that they were living in such a way, and then I don't know, maybe something happened in their business or the economy, like something happened with the economy, and then like it all fell apart. It happened. This is a thing that happens. Like, people have a financial crisis, they get themselves out of it, or they fail. Like this is a cycle that happens. Everybody in their life experiences periods where they're wealthy, comparatively, right? Like to their normal standard of living. You'll have a situation where you have a windfall, and then now you're like now you have more money in proportion to your standard of living. And then there are situations in which somebody has less than that, and then that kind of throws things off, right? In someone's life. Yeah, health, repair bills, business troubles, economy, like there's so many factors here, right? And another thing is the thing with the bail, there's a significant difference. So say you are living like kind of middle class up or middle upper class, you're like kind of in that bracket. There is a significant difference between 250K and 1 million. That is a significant difference. And if you were having financial struggles, 1 million would be significantly harder to pay off than 250K. Especially like if your house itself, they're renting. But if the house itself was around a 900K house in Texas, 1 million is like the price of a house is crazy, right? So like the bail being higher than the price of like an actual living place, which what you're expected to I know they're renting, but you're expected to pay this off in what, like 30 something years. That's a lot. That's significantly more. That being said, was it a good idea for them to lower it in this specific case? It seems like a weird play. Did you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of looking at it, like, I'm trying to analyze what's happening. I'm trying to figure out, like, what makes sense and what doesn't. That part doesn't make sense. Even if their living situation was kind of rough for it, why reduce the bail when when the guy is clearly dangerous? Does that make sense? He's clearly dangerous because he's not the kind of person that's making rational decisions if he stabs a dude to death over like an incident at a track meet. Like, he's clearly not mentally, what's the word? He's not mentally fit to be in society right now because of that. We all know that he doesn't make good decisions. So like, why would they reduce the bail? That doesn't make sense. But at the same time, again, like I said, do they need money for his legal defense? Probably. He's probably going to need a fuck ton of money for his legal defense, because this case is going to be really, really rough for them. Buying a new mansion, like, is this a mansion? I mean, we can look at it, right? I mean, let's look at the freaking house here.
With the league,
is this a mansion? This isn't really a mansion. This is a very big house, though. This is fucking pretty big. I will admit, that's a big house.
Legal defense money. That's right.
It's not really a mansion, though. It's a little. It's a little bit of a stretch to call it a mansion.
That's right. And so we're not 100% sure whether this...
There we go. Let's take a look at it. Frisco, Texas. That is a very nice house. Not a mansion, but it's pretty big. That is very upper middle class house.
This is
for
happening
sure.
Or not. I'm not 100%, but it looks like that's kind of what's going on. And so like this is, and I look at this house.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, okay. So this is an upper middle class house. Hold on, wait. This is someone else's house, correct? It looks like it. This is like a cul-de-sac, and then we've got other houses here. So their property isn't ridiculously large. You can see there's another house like right next to it, unless they own all of it, which I don't think they do. They're renting this house in like this kind of this is probably in the countryside too, and it's possible it's in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. I don't know yet though. It's kind of hard to say, but It's not like they have like their own like ranch or something like that. This is just upper middle class.
This is a nice fucking house. Like, look at that.
Yeah, not with neighbors that close. It's not a mansion. Yeah.
Oh my God. And so anyway, they're like, okay, well, this is the same stairway because it's like, you know, the same two
Oh, Frisco, Texas is not countryside? Okay.
things. And so they might have done this. Not a bad decision maker at all. I mean, he going to be in jail, right? I mean, let's be honest. And so this is an $800,000, it says right there, $800,000 house. I'm not sure whether he owns the house, they bought the house or not. I think that's kind of unconfirmed right now. And
Allegedly, they're renting it according to the information I've seen. But again, like, it's kind of hard to tell right now because there's not much information. So a lot of it is kind of like allegedly that this is what's happening, right? There's no like confirmed information.
And house owned by apparently Indians. Yeah, so apparently
It's
that's
in the
not even-
suburbs. Yeah. It looks like a nice house in the suburbs. Definitely better than most. I'd say it's definitely like, at least it's on the upper end of middle class for sure.
really what's going on. And so they could be renting it. They're moving into a new house and hiring private security with the fund that they can afford the mortgage of a mansion in Texas. Is basically illegal. It should be fraud. The problem, like, I don't have a problem like this. Maybe this is just me, but the only bad thing I see about this is the fact that his bail got lowered. Like, if a bunch of retards want to get together and pool money for some dumbass, then I don't really think that's too big of a deal, right? I mean, like,
So he's not wrong. He's not wrong if a bunch of dumbasses want to give him money, then that who's to say what they can or can't do with their money. However, from the perspective of justice, it doesn't feel good, right? Like from the perspective of like justice, like the family of the murdered person, this is not going to feel good for them. And it's not going to feel good for society in general, who sees this as a grave injustice and then they're getting rewarded for it. It's bad optics for sure. But I don't think Asmon is wrong here. If people can do whatever they want with their money, if they want to be retarded with it, that's up to them. But again, is it good? Is it a good thing overall? Like in terms of justice, probably not. So I'm kind of like on the fence there, where I understand from the point of like you being able to do whatever with your money. I don't see anything wrong with that, but I do see something like morally fucked with this. Basically, there is a moral, like there's an issue of justice and morality here. Basically.
why the fuck would I care about this? I mean, there's plenty of stupid money. People donate money to fucking, like, I'm trying to think, like, what's the dumbest, like...
Justice, sorry, when I mean justice, I don't mean, like, legal justice. I mean, like, moral justice, basically. Like, it's really bad optics, and it's, like, it's just weird. It's weird to give money to somebody, like, given the facts of this case. It's very strange.
You've been donating money to Star Citizen forever, right? They've been donating money to these video games like, oh, this is going to be the next new Chronicles of Valeria. Like, is this really that big of a difference to me? Like, yeah, it is kind of a big difference, but it's not a huge difference. And so that they donate to Twitch streamers, exactly. And so that's not what bothers me. What bothers me is that this woman thought to lower his bail. Like, this needs to be an investigation. That is weird, it that you think that somebody who...
And again, the reason it's weird is because the actions that this guy took, they're not really logical. The action to the situation is so disconnected from, like, any sort of rational thinking that it's ridiculous, basically. So, like, his mental capacity for understanding the consequences of one's own actions is not very high, which now you're going to add, like, kind of the threat of, like, going to jail, which doesn't seem like a good play here. It's kind of weird how judges can do whatever the fuck they want, and we society never really question it sometimes at all. Yeah, exactly. Methylene. I'm saying this is weird. This is really weird.
I mean, again, stabbing somebody in the heart with a knife, like, again, like, there are, like, levels of, like, violence, and I feel like that one's pretty high up there, right? I mean, like, that's some savage shit, right?
Yeah, that shit's
and
fucking
so, like,
medieval.
You talk about doing that. That's a whole lot on stolen property, yes. And so, anyway, Dexter Morgan type shit, exactly. And so he shouldn't even have a bail to begin with. And if anything, $1 million, that's one thing. So that this judge needs to be looked at. That, like, how do you make a decision like this and think that it's okay? And so anyway, yeah, I did say it was not a legal defense fund; it was a fund for the family. You're supposed to think the legal costs, but didn't make that claim. What's this here? Family needs the money to survive.
So let me like. Oh, that's fucked up. That picture at the bottom. But I'm thinking. Yeah. I don't think there's any excuse. Sorry, I had to analyze it a bit. So let me tell you the thought, the logic I was running through in my mind. Basically, is it true that the 1 million is really, really high, right? That's a lot of money. The point of bail, by the way, the point of bail is to make it so it's to incentivize the person to not flee. So it's a significant amount of money that if the person fled, that they would lose have a significant financial hit. It's an incentive to not run away. Like, okay, well, you don't have to stay in jail, but you have to come back to court. And if you don't, we keep this money, right? Normally, honest, like, I'm gonna be real here. Like, if this was a different situation, like, I definitely think that, well, if that's their living situation, 250K is still a lot. That's still a significant incentive to stay and go to court. That's a lot of money. Is 1 million excessive? It's possible that the 1 million was just like is a little overkill. It's like unpayable, basically. It's effectively no bail at 1 million, which is the reason why she would have lowered it. However, the reason this is retarded is because of what we said earlier. The other reason to keep them in the system and to not release them on bail is if they're a danger to society. And we've already established that this guy has very bad decision making, and he's going to be emotionally pressured both at the same time because of what he's facing, the consequences that he potentially can face. He might not be in a good state of mind, which we already established that he's already not really of sound mind. And the processes is going to make it worse. So which is why it's like, is this a good idea in this specific case? I don't really have a problem, honestly, with the bail being lowered, like in terms of the function of bail. But the question is, should he even be bailable in the first place? That should be the real question here.
Were they depending on a 17-year-old high school kid to support the family? Well, I mean, a lawsuit costs a lot of money realistically, right? But anyway, worst part is this established pattern, totally expected from the beginning. Can't wait to see how the trial goes. I mean, he gonna be gone, right? Do you want?
Wait, why did they give Kyle 2 million bail? What the fuck? Was it? Wait, Kyle was not rich, wasn't he?
Radicalized white people, because this is how you get radicalized white people. I think this is really
Working
what the worst
class
part
parents?
about it is the fact that this situation happening and Anthony getting off on this shit.
So what, like, man.
Then getting released and then being like, this is the post that was made about it, right? And so, minister, I mean, like, what I find to be crazy, oh, he's a minister of justice. Okay, never mind. I thought it was a minister.
Kyle was poor. He lived with his mom primarily and dad part-time. They were divorced, single income, working in class homes. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Also, the thing is with Kyle, you could justify the self-defense a lot more. And you could also justify that he had more of a sound mind. I think so. I really think you could. And you could tell us because of the restraint that he showed. He showed like insane restraint and like not like just lighting everybody up at that time that was around him. It was kind of crazy.
Religion, because as far as I know, unless you're worshiping Quetzalcoatl, stabbing somebody in the heart and killing them is generally not. I don't think that, because like Cain did that in the Bible, right? And like people thought he was the bad guy. So, yeah, I thought that's definitely not it. Anyway, so Karmelo Anthony is safe at home. The moment is a reminder that a community united can never be divided. Well, has it ever occurred to you that if everybody is collectively morons, that's not something to be proud of?
Yes.
Like and also, by the way, the community, if this implication that like the black community supports this is fucking ridiculous. There are tons of black people, and I think that if you really polled average, you go to Walmart and
the problem is they're always trying to turn every single one of these cases. They try to turn it into like a fucking race war. It like every single time. And then what that does is it really divides people along racial lines when you do stuff like this constantly.
you tell people at Walmart, black people at Walmart, this is what happened, they're gonna say no, keep them in fucking jail. What are you talking about? So like this entire fucking the entire premise of this is a complete fabrication.
Yep.
Massive fucking fabrication. Clueless, Asmon? No, I'm telling you, like, I mean, again, are there racist black people out there? For fucking sure there are. But to act like that's the majority, guys, like, really?
There's a lot of races in every group. Racists, sorry. There's a lot of racists in every group, to be honest. The idea that, like, minorities are incapable of racism is just retarded, frankly. I don't know what to tell you. The idea that black people, like, aren't racist towards white people, like, ever, like, it's just so dumb. And like I can tell you for a fact that like freaking Asians can be just as racist towards everybody.
Some time off the internet, a lot of people don't see it that way. So but supporters are mostly black, so what the fuck? If all of his supporters are black, that still is not an indication on the general population of black people. Like, let's say 1 million people support him that are black. If blacks are 13% of the population, that's like...
The idea of reverse racism is dumb. Racism is racism. Yes. I agree. It's just racism, basically. Thank you for the best, brother Hussein. Racism is just racism. Yeah, exactly. The idea that the racism has a varying degree of the idea that racism has a different modifier based on like what your race is actually racist. The whole premise that racism is worse or no longer considered racism depending on the race of the person is in of itself racist.
Million people support him that are black. If blacks are 13% of the population, that's like 2% or something like that. It's nothing. And so like, no, I'm not going to sit around and act like there's some kind of like collective accountability of black people because a handful of them got together and supported a fucking crazy asshole.
Yep.
That's not fair. It's not fucking fair. It's not even a majority.
Also, the people that donated to him probably weren't all black either.
And so anyway, Chatter's Matt, not everybody always wants to turn this into a race issue. Do not let these grifters take advantage of you and convince you that this person somehow is you want to know who your enemy is. Yeah, it's this guy. But you want to know who the real enemy is? It's this guy. It's this guy who tries to sow racial divides, racial hatred.
Fuck these people, honestly. These guys are the real enemies, by the way.
Tries to push people apart, who tries to use his identity.
Because they try to use, like, the racial tensions, and they try to blow that up for their own benefit. For their own clout, or whatever the fuck it is. To get ahead in society, they use hatred as a vector to better them, to increase their status in society, which is pretty fucking evil, actually.
As a weapon, and who tries to create a false sense of solidarity between people on superficial grounds. This is the enemy. This guy is just a stupid fucking kid, asshole. He should have never even been in that school to begin with, right? I mean, honestly, the people that really like he's a minor. He's 17 years old. And yeah, I know he should go to jail. He should be tried as an adult. I completely agree. But let's be honest. The fact that the teacher, this guy had a history of violence and the school let this kid stay in the school. We got to find and investigate the people that made that decision and make sure that they never have another fucking job in education again, because
well, the problem is these people never have any accountability.
Is not for them. If they had made the right decision, not the decision that made them feel good, but the right decision, they would have actually saved a life. And I think that there is a degree of blood on their hands. I think so, because they hold the power. This person doesn't hold the power. I know you might think that's crazy, but I'm sorry. If you're so fucking retarded that you think you're going to stab somebody in the middle of a track meet, you do not have the full capacity of your mental facilities. You are insane.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This person needs to be taken care of, separated from society, and given a place where they can exist without hurting themselves or other people. That's the reality. This is a degree.
And the problem is like them not doing that is now a disservice, because now justice must be paid. Justice must be paid in full now at this point. And it was a disservice to like even let him get to the point of being able to do this in the first place if they knew.
a lack of self-control that has been, again, also trained. This person has probably been violent. That's what that other girl that went to school with him went. She just didn't even really know him that well, but she knew he caused problems. How the fuck does everybody know you're causing problems and you're still there? Really? You see what I'm saying about this shit? This is nuts.
It's true.
And so anyway, I go and I see this, and I'll read the rest of the journey as long ahead. No, it's not. The journey is you go from court to jail. That's it. It's over. That's really short. Maybe
I don't know, Asmon. I feel like this is gonna be I think there's a chance this is gonna be a long one. There's a chance.
Journey's not gonna. Maybe your journey is gonna be long because you get to go on a cruise with all the money that you're getting. Maybe maybe your journey is going to be really long. And now you get to go and talk and be like, oh, I can't believe this happened to him. And now you get to use this guy and, oh no, this is another victim. And get the fuck out of here. And anyway, we celebrate a victory for justice for the family and for the power of the people coming to protect our youth. Our youth. Well, what about the youth that got stabbed? Well, what about the protection exam? Because
Asmon, he's not their youth because he's white.
So I agree that Karmelo needs to be protected. That's why he should have never been in his school in the first place, because his brain is fucked up. There's something wrong with him. And the fact is that they let him stay in that school, and the kid is dead because of that. And also, Karmelo ruined his fucking life. Karmelo ruined his entire fucking life. He could have...
When your entire thing is talking about like a us or them situation, and you're saying like our youth, you know he's not talking about every kid. That's not what he's talking about.
Maybe got the help he needed. He could have maybe been medicated in a way that kept him on an even keel. He could have maybe be held accountable as a young man, and then maybe that would have helped him evolve into somebody who could control himself. But none of that was happening because of the low.
Like, did he explicitly say that? No, but it's highly likely that somebody who does this kind of like race grifting is going to do this. It means that basically.
Expectations of education and society, and I hate to say it, but I think some of these are the bigotry of low expectations. You can be black and you can make bad decisions and it's still your fault.
Yep.
This weird fucking thing where people infantilize minorities is it's disgusting. It's insulting. It's insulting to everybody. It's insulting to them. It's insulting to everybody else. Mm-hmm. It's awful. It's bad.
Hey, Hazith, came here from YouTube, saw you do TTRP, just so I got curious. Playing tomorrow, Hazith, if you're interested in that. Thank you.
Bad for everyone. This is what I said before. Remember the video that I pulled up for y'all about the guy that like he couldn't buy anything from Dunkin' Donuts because he was being treated like he's in a jail? Because like there's like fiberglass walls and like bulletproof glass everywhere. And I actually agreed with him. And I said, if you treat people like animals in jail, they're going to act like animals in jail. That, again, you know who came up with the decision not to have police everywhere there? A bunch of fucking upper middle class Karens who think that they're helping minority communities.
Asmon's on the war he's on the war path. He's the warlord against the Karen.
We're not helping minority communities by not holding the criminals accountable in their culture. That is the problem. That is the main fucking issue, and it ruins everything for them. It fucks up everything. I'm so disappointed in this. And another thing is that I'm so disappointed in a lot of these, and I think that again, it's understandable. And again, it's understandable. It is. Like, we've had Jim Crow, we had slavery, we had pre-civil rights, we had segregation, we've had all kinds of racial contexts in America. Mm-hmm. We have, and the ripple effects of that are still felt today. Absolutely. Think about the amount of families that are black with generational wealth versus white with generational wealth. Small minorities in both, but one of them is certainly greater than the other. And so I'm not going to try to act like there's no systematic racism and there's no ripples of that have happened. There are, and it's important to talk about that. But at the same time, you have these people that are co-opting these race issues so they can make money. This guy's wearing a nice suit.
Is that a nice suit? I can't tell. I don't know.
This is all over. He's going to be wearing an even nicer suit. I think it's fucking
It's not
ridiculous.
actually. Yeah. It didn't really look that
disgraceful.
nice to me.
Absolutely fucking disgraceful. It's come out now. The minister defending this guy so hard is the domestic abuser who beat his ex-girlfriend's 12-year-old daughter and I believe hospitalized her. He said it on Twitter. Well, hey, game recognized game. What a surprise. I mean, I'm not going to go and say that's what happened, right? Because I don't know. But if
Asmon is not the guy that judged Drip. That's true.
So, yeah, thanks for being level-headed through all these things. Breast refresh, share some unbiased, extreme basic plan. No, the thing is, and this is the problem, is that there is no greater victim of this form of, big...
The Dempsey says, reminder that the Democrats created the KKK and enforced Jim Crow. You know what? It's always the weirdest thing to me is this keeps happening throughout history. And, I know that people, I don't think it's necessarily people who are Democrats. There's a lot of Democrats I know that are just they're really, they're good people. I don't agree with them in terms of logic, but it is what it is. I don't think that they're actually evil. That being said, it is weird throughout history that a lot of the groups that have done a lot of the really fucked up and racist things are kind of, how to explain it? They seem to always come from the same pool of thought. And it's weird. It's the same thing with how do I explain it? For instance, Planned Parenthood is a good one. Where you think about the origins of Planned Parenthood, right? And it is such an institution for the left. They love it. And they're like, oh, this is great for minorities and stuff like that. It's celebrated, right? But the original, the person who made Planned Parenthood, their intent was yo, we got to do something about these black babies. That was literally the whole thing. And it's so funny. It's so not that part's not funny, but it's so funny how it's that's the institution that's holy now, and it's so freaking weird. Man, it's wild. It truly is. It's crazy. It's the irony, yeah, the irony that we care so much about minorities, hyper leftist people are ride or die for institutions that historically have had very bad intentions, is what I'll say.
Bigotry of low expectations,
But I mean, to be fair, they're very good at manipulating situations. You see this even to this day. It's just, I think that finally they overreached, basically. Finally they fucked up. They went a little too hard and made it too obvious, basically.
illusion of tolerance. There is no greater victim to this than other minorities that are affected by it. Because here's another really important thing to keep in mind, is that with every single race, I'm trying to say this in a way that,
Shoti says Democrats versus Republicans, all this naive, childish, high school leveling understanding of politics. You're sick of it. I don't know exactly what your point is, but I don't like the Republicans either. I'm not a fan of them either.
And have some connotation. Every single race, including black people, they kill more black people than any other race. White people, as far as I know, kill more white people than any other.
Just a reminder that the platforms of the Republicans and Democrats flipped in the 60s for those who like to point out horrible things that either party did in the past. Maybe we should look into that at some time. That's a myth, says Zuli. Okay. To be fair, though, you can see it kind of flipping right now in real time. Sort of. Not really. Not the whole platform, but like certain issues are flipping in real time right now. But I don't think the core beliefs are actually flipping. It's just issues of contention. Both parties are both legs of the same progressive behemoth. Yeah, that's why I don't like both of them.
Race. So the main victims of this low expectation are other ones of them. That's the reason. They're the victims. They're the ones that are being hurt by this.
Even if you do want to say that there was a flip, if you look at the effects, it's still the same. So like, let's use the example. Sorry, I know I'm pausing a lot. Let's say we use the example of Planned Parenthood, right? And that their goal was to the person who made Planned Parenthood wanted to basically lower the amount of black babies in the world, right? What's the difference between that and what's happening now? So the left still likes Planned Parenthood. They're still doing the same thing. So what's the difference? They're still fulfilling that goal. Do you see what I'm saying? The intent? Isn't that such a good way to like, man, this is what I was saying. They're so good at this. They're so good at manipulating like the optics of a thing. It's actually crazy.
And and what I'm saying is like, so this crash out that we see with Karmelo, this happens regularly. Absolutely fucking disgusting. You're trying so hard to avoid the reality of this issue of personal accountability. Everybody makes choices. What I'm saying is that the choices are easier to make.
Who's they? I guess politicians.
Like, so I agree that actually, I don't entirely. When I decide that a person, and this is again my opinion, but like really, are we really gonna act like a guy that's gonna pull out a knife in the middle of everybody and stab somebody? Are we really gonna act like this is a man of sound mind? I don't. Fuck no. Absolutely not. Like, yeah, I think this is a nutball. And so anyway, not for a kid. Yeah, exactly, right? And so like, well, what my point is that when a crazy person does something wrong, crazy people in a way are not accountable for their own behavior. Now,
the thing you have to understand about evil in general, evil is only palatable to psychopaths. So you have to disguise it. It's not palatable to the main public, so you have to convince everyone that it's good. And that's the only way evil can exist, basically.
You have to take care of them and make sure that people are safe, but at the same time, you should be asking yourself, why is it that this person was allowed to get to this point? Who is it that thought they were doing a good thing who now has blood on their hands? And those are the people I think that need to be held accountable too. Am I crazy for saying this? I don't think I am. I think I'm the only person that's not fucking crazy. Because I see everybody turning this into like this weird fucking race issue. And yes,
that's what I was talking about earlier about the whole thing with like the bail and the living situation. That's why I was like, we need to think about like what's actually happening here rather than just getting mad at it being like a race thing, because there might be other reasons behind it. And if we jump immediately to race every single time, it doesn't solve anything.
There is a degree, I think that there absolutely is a degree of racial solidarity that's happening, and I find it to be disgusting, and it shouldn't be promoted or advocated for at all. But do not let those people divide you and make you think that average black people don't see this and find it to be fucking disgusting. They do. This is the amount of people that supported this guy is a fraction of a % of the actual amount of people that are black in the country. It's outrageous. And so they all get ignored. Exactly. And so that's the point that I'm making here. So first arrested in 2009. This is the guy, right? It's Dominique Alexander. Let's listen to what this is.
Wait, the judge has come out with comments how her skin color as a judge is soothing to perps of her skin color. Wait, really? Is that real? These people are so fucking nasty and racist. It's actually unreal.
He's done. Alexander was first arrested in 2009 for causing serious bodily injury to a child. Police reported that he'd been babysitting his girlfriend's 2-year-old son for the evening, and he called her at 11 p.m. and told her to get home now.
Wait, what?
But he didn't tell her why. When she arrived, she found her child unresponsive. Alexander told his girlfriend that he'd been watching a movie with her son on the couch. He paused the movie, police reported, and he walked into the computer room, heard the sound of her son, who was asleep on the couch, fall off the couch onto the carpet. But the doctor disagreed with the statement. He examined.
Wait, what? Wait, what's going on? Oh, the guy, the minister. To
get home now, but he didn't tell her why. When she arrived, she found her child unresponsive. Alexander told his girlfriend that he'd been watching a movie with her son on the couch. He paused the movie, police reported, and he walked into the computer room, heard the sound of her son, who was asleep on the couch, fall off the couch onto the carpet. But the doctor disagreed with the statement. He examined Alexander's girlfriend's son in the intensive care unit and reported that the child had a subdural hemorrhage between the halves of his brain, the back of his brain.
What the fuck?
He also had retinal hemorrhages in both eyes. Ooh, geez. Didn't you go to prison for beating a toddler? Geez. And it all, wait a minute. Oh, bro. This
What's up, Aaron?
He got a list. He got a list.
Holy crap.
And so, injury to a child, the 2-year-old.
Just to be clear, for if you're confused at all, because I was slightly confused at the beginning. This guy Alexander is the guy that was posing in the photo. So the guy who stabbed the other guy, in the current case, is named Karmelo Anthony. And what you saw earlier, up here, was the guy posing with him and like saying like, oh, like this, this is the community stands together. Like this guy is Alexander. So the guy in the blue suit is Alexander.
Old son pleaded guilty to a felony theft charge from a 2016 business. He was sentenced to 2 days in jail. What? Alexander was convicted on another felony theft charge of continuous violence against the family after an alleged assault of his long-term partner. The charge was later dismissed. His criminal record also what is this? His convictions for evading arrest, making a false. Okay, dude, who is this guy? Who is this? This is crazy. What is going on?
Man,
I did really. He playing G28, and again, this is another person. Again, this guy should never have been let out. This is another example. This guy they should have locked his ass up. He shouldn't even be here. That has the chance to get the other guy out.
this guy is literally like I got away. I gotta support all my other homies getting away. Like, dude, what the fuck?
And so
man?
anyway, it's yeah.
This is so fucked up.
Democrats love people like this. Judges are weak. I think that you're right. I think that a lot of people view, like, I'm gonna be real. I hate the idea that people have of sympathy and what's the word? Like, not when you let somebody off, right? What's the
interesting thing about that show? I watched a little bit of it recently. The Uncle Ruckus, that's the Boondocks, right? I watched a little bit of it recently, and it's kind of interesting because I feel like the whole show, at least from what I've seen, is the adults being crazy. One of them is crazy in like one way, the other one is crazy in the other way, and the kid is reasonable, and he's like basically having to deal with everyone's bullshit. That's what the show seems like to me. Is that there's Uncle Ruckus, who is like, he basically hates black people, and then you have the other guy, I guess he's the dad or the uncle or something like that, who is the opposite, and he's like, he basically like simps super hard, and then the kid is just like, you guys are both dumb. It's like, I feel like that's the story. Is the granddad the grandpa? Yeah.
word? Same.
Sorry, I haven't really seen much of the Boondocks, but I saw like one episode. I about a week or two ago. And it was interesting to see that being like the kind of dynamic of the show.
I don't know why I can't think of the word. Empathy. No, not empathy. Rigged. Leniency. Yeah. Leniency. Like mercy. There it is. Mercy. That's the word I was thinking of. There is no mercy in letting a person like this out. The problem is that people never are able to perceive the actions that they take beyond the immediate effect of them. Because when you let this person out and then they do something bad again, that's kind of like your fault, isn't it? Because you let them out. And
Only Actual Oxide says the granddad is normal. The two kids are a black activist and a wannabe gangster. That's not how it was in the episode I saw, but maybe it was just specifically the episode I saw. I saw the one with Catcher Freeman. That's the episode I watched. And it was like one had like a super romanticized view of like what happened, and the other had like the opposite. And then the kid was like, "You guys are both wrong." Yeah.
you did that because you thought that things would be better.
That fucking episode was so funny. Like it was like too real. It was too real.
You thought that you knew better. And so that's it. And mercy, exactly. And this misplaced empathy and this self-indulgent mercy and, like, oh, well, we're going to let people do this. It gets people killed. It does. We must liberate the people from the criminals. Yeah, this guy's... And this is a person who's been violent to a 2-year-old. Like, we're not talking about, like... some like weird domestic violence altercation. This is crazy, bro. Like, it's nuts. And so you see, like, white people see this, and it's going to radicalize them.
Yep.
We don't need to go back to race.
Because once you have normal people just trying to live their lives and they're not racist, but then they constantly get called racist and they constantly get basically sucker punched. Like, you constantly have situations where preferential treatment is given to others because of their race, and you're just expected to take it on the chin. At some point, that'll make you turn.
Politics. We've spent 150 fucking years getting away from that, and these people are speed running, going back.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking annoying. It's exhausting. Then stop blaming white people. I'm not blaming who. When the fuck did I blame white people?
What the fuck?
It's people that do this. It's not white or black people that it's people do this. Forget getting radicalized. Yes. And so anyway, we play a new RuneScape game today. Yeah, I will, but not yet. And anyway, can an executive order take over a case like this? I don't know, but yeah. And boomer mentals, yeah, it's really sad, man. You Americans got a lot of black people among you with KKK level of racism. They literally hate white people. Okay. So what's the point? Like, in my opinion...
There's racist people of all races.
This is just, again, this is my opinion.
Well, the guy's not wrong, but what's the point,
person,
basically?
And I lived in a very impoverished area with majority other people that were part of minority groups. And the city has collectively decided to not police my area, not stop the gang violence in my area.
Asmon has a point here. Everyone should stop being racist and be Karenist and insulist. I think he's on to something.
Like not stop the drive-bys in my area.
We should shift all of that hate towards the Karens.
I would probably hate white people.
It's like that meme with like the two people shaking hands. The meme with the two buff people shaking hands. It's like that, but it's like the racists from every race. The racists from every race shake hands, and they form an alliance.
I would. And especially because a lot of these people, if you're broke, the odds are your parents were probably also broke. And so, like, and the thing is that, right, exactly, you probably know, like, I know, like, from my dad saw this shit happen because he was in Florida whenever he grew up. He was born in 1947. And so, like, he saw this shit himself.
We're putting together a team.
You have a direct conversation with a person who was a victim of legitimate, police brutality and bad behavior, right? And so, like, not an excuse, but it kind of is, though, right? Because when you live in a culture that a bunch of people at a committee have decided isn't worth policing because they think that you like this violence or it's like somehow bad to do that, fuck that. They need to take accountability. It's a culture problem.
It's the meme with Madara and Hashirama shaking hands.
Their community? No, they cannot take accountability and go and shoot the gang members. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. The chatter was correct. It's an excuse. It's an explanation. Yeah, I'm explaining why this happens. And again, if you can't understand why a person feels the way that they feel, you can never change the way that they feel because you can't figure out why it's happening. It's like you try to fix a computer problem. If you can't figure out why the computer problem is happening, you can never fix the problem, right?
That's not true. Because you can restart the computer and then the computer might work.
You have to figure out what the problem is and why it's happening. And I think that's a big reason why it's happening. I think the moment that you give these people the ability
what the fuck, Blaze? That's so funny.
To live in a place where they can expect the rule of law that's being enforced, they can be respected as individuals, they cannot be patronized,
the problem is these people that they virtue signal shit. And usually that's Karens, right? Where they try to make themselves look like they're better than everyone else. They're such nice people, and they're always like the biggest assholes.
Ascended to
it's every time.
Victims of the bigotry of low expectations, and you treat them like human beings, like they deserve. I think that if you hold people to high expectations, they meet them. And I think,
ironically, if a person says that they're an asshole, they're probably nicer than the people that say that they're not assholes.
I think that if you hold people to low expectations, they'll also meet them. That's the way I see. There'll never be a moral and just society when we keep treating minorities different than everyone else and infantilizing them. Why?
Thanks for the bits, Evian. Karen Apocalypse would be a nice zombie org.
Yeah, I see. There'll never be a moral and just society when we keep treating minorities different than everyone else and infantilizing them. Whites are hated. Yeah, there's a lot of.
Oh my god, that'd be like an amazing game though. If it like a game like dude, imagine a game like you know, like those old school like side scroller beat 'em ups. Oh my god, I might make this game. Never mind, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna make this game. I'm gonna use AI to make this game.
Racist black people out there.
Oh my god, I just came up with an idea for a game.
But you have to look at why.
I'm gonna use AI to make it.
Is that why does that happen? And so as soon as you and I'll tell.
Oh my god, Julio, I gotta write this to Julio. Oh my god, what a brilliant idea for a game. Holy fuck, that's a good game. I want to play that game so bad. Jack of all blades, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. Streets of Rage.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why it happens. It's because of this guy. This is one of the reasons why it happens. You have a serial domestic abuser who is weaponizing his race in order to protect other serial domestic abusers and psychopaths. This is the reason why you have racism. Go back to the days that Rush Hour came out in movie theaters and everybody was looking forward to seeing it. Go back to the days that Will Smith was the biggest movie actor in the world and everybody wanted to be like Will Smith, and everybody, believe it or not, wanted a dad or an uncle like Bill Cosby. No,
yep.
Absolutely not. I'm not going to buy into this bullshit.
Dude,
everything was fucking fine.
Dude, this is so true. This is so true.
And then these bad actors ruined it. And yeah, we always had this a little bit. It was always a little bit. But now it's way too much.
Yeah, dude, everyone thought that Will Smith was so fucking cool. I remember that. I remember that when I was a kid. Everyone thought he was really, really cool. And yeah. Mm-hmm. There was nobody that was like, yeah, but he's black though. Like literally nobody. Everyone thought he was, yeah, he's kind of cringe now, but like he was really cool before. like in like Men in Black and like Wild Wild West and stuff like that. Like he was really
Cosby
cool.
thing turn out not so good, but how'd the Harvey Weinstein thing turn out? I mean, it's not like black people.
The what do you call it? The freaking robot movie, and then the one with the. Wasn't he the one in that one with like the zombies or whatever, like the light zombies?
People have a monopoly on
He was
being
cool in
creeps.
general.
Like again, everybody.
And like and then you had like Chris Rock and I forget.
He
a
always
bunch
wants
of
to
people
turn it
though.
into a race issue. I don't think
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah. Oh, dude, Rush Hour was fucking amazing. Like Rush Hour was so good. Everyone
just
loved
don't.
Rush Hour.
I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's productive either.
Everyone loved like Dave Chappelle too. I remember Dave Chappelle was really cool.
Uncle Phil? Yeah, Uncle Phil. There's another great example from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. Exactly. Diddy versus Epstein, exactly. Guys, do you think the bail system is fair?
Oh yeah, I love Bernie Mac. He was funny.
I think this.
Dude, I love Bernie Mac in Bad Santa. Dude, that was so peak. Like his character in Bad Santa was so good.
Instance of it is not. I think some instances of it are.
Huh.
Like basically, if a person, in my opinion, like a perpetrator of a violent crime, especially if it's premeditated, I don't think should probably get bail. But a person who is, committing a crime that's like not, like basically it should be determined whether this person's like a threat to society or not. That's the way I see it. So yeah, I don't want to turn into a race issue. I just want the bad people who hurt innocents to get punished. Yeah, exactly. So you guys are just letting murderers out on bail? Unironically, yes. Unironically, we
These people, it's so crazy. It's so obvious that these people who like basically tried to these people who claim that they're trying to fix racism, they're the ones who actually made it real. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
going and letting murderers out on bail. And
Why is Asmon always looking to his right all the time? His monitors are probably arranged in such a way that like the chat is on one side. So for me, thanks for the follow, Beefy Paladin. So for me, my chat's on the right. So if you ever see like my eyes go to the right, it's because I'm reading chat. My video is like here where I'm looking right now. That's like the video. Like I'm looking at the video right now. It's in front of me. And then I have the chat on the right. But I also have a chat on the top left. So it's kind of like I have like two spots I can be looking at chat. It's like either there or up there.
I want to let you guys know that this has caused Nick Fuentes can only dream of being able to cause this much racial difference between two groups of people.
It's true.
Richard Spencer can only dream of being able to ferment this level of racism between whites and blacks. This goes beyond any of these racial instigators or any of this. This is
the same thing. Like people keep bringing up neo-Nazis and the KKK. They basically don't have any power.
million times worse. Johnny Somali. Hey, do you see what I'm saying? Because foment, not ferment. You're right. Foment. I used the wrong word. That's what I think. The optics are bad. The optics are horrible. Luigi's rotting in jail, but not this guy. That's a great point. That's actually a great point. Holy shit, what a good point. Why is this guy not in jail, but Luigi is? But Luigi was premeditated? So was him. Who brings a knife to a track meet? Who says, touch me and see what happens? That's premeditation, in my opinion. It is. The Joker was right. Yeah. So we let Luigi out?
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
For the sake of my YouTube channel, that would be the best outcome. But
the
no.
KKK and the Nazis have been on life support via being fed infiltrators.
Oh, I think we keep both of them in. Yeah, that's not premeditation by definition. Maybe my understanding of it is different, but I thought it was. Premeditation for a murder can happen the instant before the murder. It just means that it wasn't an accident. Really,
Thanks,
I thought an accident meant that it was manslaughter. I'm not a lawyer, okay? So like I I'm just thinking about it from like my layman's understanding of the definitional like vocabulary and what it means. But I know that like the legal terminology for things can sometimes be different. So I could be wrong about this a little bit. I'm not trying to like go and like have a big argument about this. So yeah, anyway, that's the way that I feel about it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because like I read a lot of these comments. Let's see here. Are there any more of these? This is racist comment. I think this is a racist comment.
That nigga now. I got the rope right here.
Oh my god. Anyway, it's just and this.
I gotta watch this show. How many episodes are there of the Boondocks? I gotta watch this. Wasn't the Boondocks like originally like a comic in like the newspaper? Wasn't that originally what the Boondocks? I swear to God, it was a comic. It was like a freaking 4-panel comic strip in the newspaper. It was. Is it bad to say I remember that? It's just giving me psychic damage. Oh. Oh my God. I used to read the newspaper, if you can believe that.
This is again. This is I think kind of racially. That's why most people hate you. Another racist comment. Let's see here. This is. I don't really think this is racist. Could be, right? It's hard to say. But like if you look at a lot of these, it's just another racial comment. And you see another racial comment, etc. And you see how
You're exempted if it's only to read the funnies. Evil Emperor Zerg, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you for 4 months. I used to read the funnies in color every Sunday. You're not alone. What was it? They had was it Garfield? Garfield, right? Garfield, the Boondocks, and there was there was one that I thought was fucking awful. It was like an office worker dude. He was like a nerd. Dilbert, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I didn't like that one.
It's breeding this, right? Do you think it should be this big of a racial thing? I feel like the dude stabbed the other guy because he was pissed at him. Yeah, I think that's probably what it was too. Yeah, I mean, I bet if you ask Karmelo,
oh yeah, Calvin
did you
and
stab
Hobbes
him because he was white, even Karmelo would say no. I stabbed him because he was making me mad. No, I bet that's probably what it was. Yeah, they just got, they got mad. So did a judge made it racial? Exactly, right? And so you can't erase the race, but you should. Not every single altercation and interaction between two people of a different race should be colored by that racial connotation. There's no need for that. There's plenty of times people can be assholes, and it's not because they're racist, it's because they're assholes.
Is it weird? I used to like how newspapers smelled. I was like, ooh, education time. Like,
the thing is, murder is lucky to kill a person.
I liked
this way.
it.
That
I
leaves
liked
sport
it.
Racist. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It like reminded me of like time to find out what's going on in the world. Yeah.
It's racial because people are fed up with one particular demographics behavior going unaddressed.
They're so fucking annoying though. They're so fucking annoying. Like you're like holding one up and it's like falling over. You know what I mean? Like you have it and like you're like looking through it and you're trying to get to like a page and then like the top part like folds down over your hands or it folds backwards and you're like, man, what a fucking mess.
And my point is that I think that that demographic, like with like black people or anything,
because people don't understand how good they have it.
they are the ones that are the victims of this the most. That's the point that I'm making, and that's why I think this is so insidious. Did you see kind of like that's like you see how all this fits together?
Yeah, wait, what?
This victims of this with like, but what I'm saying, my point is that I think that that demographic, like with like black people or anything, they are the ones that are the victims of this the most. That's the point that I'm making, and that's why I think this is so insidious. Did you see kind of like that?
Okay, so what he means? Okay, hold on. No. What this is what he means by this. What he means is this mentality, it creates a situation in which minorities, we'll just say black people in this case, because that's what we're talking about, where black people are encouraged to not have any accountability for their actions. So the division creates a situation where it's never your fault, which leads to a lack of self-improvement, which means that the black community, the lower income black communities continue to remain lower income black communities. Yes. And when you don't hold anyone accountable, Renzets, it is a disservice to the community as a whole, right? That's the point I think that Asmond is making. Obviously, in this specific case, it was it obviously like a white person was murdered in this case, right? But what we're talking about is like an entire like segment of society basically is encouraged to not have any accountability for their actions because of the low expectations, right? The bigotry of low expectations. And what this does is this has a continued effect of keeping those communities stuck permanently. And actual racists, like the actual racist people that hate black people, they couldn't even possibly dream of having the effect that the people who care have. Yes, that's what he's saying.
That's
At least I think so. It makes sense. If you look at it that way, then the logic tracks.
like, you see how all this fits together. Anyway, I'll read a few.
If you have a friend in a game, let's say you play with a friend and they fucking suck, and all you do is tell them like, nah, bro, you're good. They'll never get better. They'll never get better at anything. Because all you do is you glaze them and you tell them that they're good. This is the problem with like hug boxes, is it doesn't cause anybody to improve in the hug box. This is why the most valuable friends you can have are ones that are willing to criticize you, but you have to be willing to like actually accept them as your friends despite their criticisms of you. Like valid criticisms, obviously. Blame the controller. You can apply this to everything. You can apply this to like a black person saying like, oh, like, you know, it doesn't matter what you do because society has you fucking down anyway. None of this is your fault. This is you have no control over it. It's just society. You could do the same thing with like a fat person and say like, oh no, dude, you're fine just the way that you are. It's okay. You're good. You could do this with everything, basically. All of the problems in society. You can apply this exact same thing and see the natural result of where that goes.
A few more of these, and then we'll move on. The crime itself is probably not racist, but the fallout is. Exactly. I think you're completely right about that. And they're the victims. My guy, someone died. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, see?
That's not even what's being discussed. Keep up.
Exactly.
We assume to apply the law equally and colorblind regardless of who's being arrested. Yeah. Ignoring doing something bad when it's beneficial for you is worse for society than doing something bad that's harmful because it's self-encouraging. Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. And there should just be facts. You kill the person, it has nothing to do with skin color. Yeah, I think so. And we move on. I'm burnt out on this topic now. No.
Maybe if people stop sleeping around and creating more single mothers, the problem wouldn't be as big. It's the same thing there. Oh yeah, you should be able to. You should be able to fuck whenever you want, no consequences. And when the consequences happens, it's not your fault. You have no accountability for yourself. It's the same thing. Again, you can apply like this exact same thing to everything, to all of the problems we have in the world.
We'll move on whenever I'm ready to move on. And I imagine it'd be harder for someone who isn't a Black American to understand what you mean.
Beefy says, why can't people just use condoms or other contraceptives? Those aren't 100%. The only thing that's 100% is not sticking a dick in yourself and not sticking your dick in a girl. That's the only thing that's 100%. All of the other stuff, it can fail.
Try to be understanding. I try to listen to what other people's perspectives are, and I try to see things from their point of view. and I try to look at the bigger picture.
The arc says, in yourself, huh? Yeah, I'm a girl. So I went with the girl perspective first, and then I gave the guy perspective after.
Like, obviously, nobody always gets it right. But I think in a lot of cases, I do get it right with this. I do. So it's insane, man. Let me see here. This video's part of a scenario. Mercy for the guilty is tyranny for the victims. I love that. I completely fucking agree. Yep. This is the problem. Poor people have it just as hard, or even worse, as minority people. Yeah. I think anybody that grew up, working class or lower class knows that. And so, yeah.
But the internet told me you were a femboy. Damn, I wish. I'd be better at games.
As a black man, I think you should rot.
I'd be better at games, and I'd probably vote better, too.
I think that most black men probably think that.
True.
Course. I mean, again, like, there's just a small subset of people that have been radicalized by the internet. Yeah, no, of course. Like, duh. Do you think the judge should lose her job? Do I think the judge should lose her job?
No, like, okay, 100% serious now. The biggest debuff is, like, sometimes I get, like, really emotional about a situation, or, like, I have these tendencies, and then, like, sometimes my friends will be like, yeah, that's just you being a woman, and, like, I think about it, and I'm like, they're not wrong. Like, because I get, like, emotional about stuff sometimes, or, like, I'll have, like a moment where I should think one thing, but then for some reason, like, the emotional aspect, like, pushes me towards another thing instead. And sometimes I'll do things that are not in my best interest because of, like, the emotional factor. And it's funny because when my guy friends call it out and they're just like, yeah, that's just you being a woman about it. And then I think about it, I'm like, true.
If you want my personal opinion, absolutely. I think that there is no logical reason that you could lower the bail from a person who is a convicted or is like a murderer. And, like, again, like, this isn't like a accidental, you got in a fight with somebody and, like, you hit them the wrong way and they fell down and they died, right? Like, this is like you stabbed them in the heart with a knife.
There probably is, like, some kind of biological reason, some kind of nature, some kind of biological nature that exists in the mind that kind of has a beneficial, like a beneficial biological reason for it. There has to be. Because consistent, like, just, and again, this isn't always the case because there are exceptions to the rule, but consistently, fuck, I lost the exact word I was going to use. Consistently, there seems to be a mental traits that are consistently higher in women than they are in men. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I think there are consistent negative traits in men as well. I think it's just different sides of the coin, where there's consistent negative mental traits and consistent positive mental traits that women have, and then it's different for men. And of course, it's like a spectrum, right? Because, like, you might be, like, kind of more towards the middle, but I think that just in terms of this is just my observation. Obviously, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. This is all just, like, anecdotal, like, based on my life experience, that there's consistently a higher percentage chance that a girl would have certain mental traits compared to a guy, and vice versa. Isn't that subjective? Yeah, because I'm not a psychologist. I don't study this. This is like pattern recognition. This is an anecdotal pattern recognition of being alive for a certain amount of time.
Lowering this person's bail knowing the context of the fact that they'll be let out, at the end of the day, a person
which traits? Well, like women are more emotional, in my opinion. The feeling is more important than the how it makes you feel, and how it makes you feel to think a thing, or or you thinking about how it would feel on the other side. That sort of aspect is a lot more prevalent in women, I think.
stabs another person in the heart with a knife,
Women tend to be more risk averse, and men are risk takers. Yeah, that too.
And a threat to society. So, did the judge's actions put the public?
Women tend to use more emotional manipulation to gain desired results. Yeah, because men have more capabilities of force projection. So it would be beneficial for women to not use force as a means to get what they want. Again, just anecdotal, just what it seems like to me.
In danger. I would argue the answer to that is unequivocally yes.
Just say women are superior. I didn't say that. I didn't say that, and I don't think that. I don't think men are superior either. I think they're different. They have different traits that complement each other, I think. I think the ideal is like you have I think the ideal is like, you have a, your partner in life is like, fulfills the traits that you're missing. I think that's probably the ideal. That's not to, and again, it's a spectrum, right? So like, even in the case of like gay people, that's why you tend to see like with gay people, one of them is more feminine than the other, right? Like, even with a gay guy, it's usually like one dude like gay guy, and then a more girly like gay guy. You tend to see that kind of a compliment even in that.
And if you have a judge who is intentionally putting the public's, safety in danger, then she should be disbarred. Absolutely. Because that's the exact opposite of what her job is. It's not even a question.
It's a bit of a tangent, but that's why I think like modern, like kind of modern making all of the main female characters into dudes is so nasty, because I think it really devalues a lot of the strengths that women have and that they're good at, and basically says that all of those traits are bad and the only good traits are the ones men have, which is that's really, really nasty, I think.
My dad's calling me. Hello?
I've told you about where I grew up.
His dad like always just randomly calls him in the middle of a stream. It's like dad calls and like interrupts the stream to like give his take on something. This happens like all the time.
I found out later, I was about 10, 11 years old. I grew up in that swamp, and there was a hammock in the swamp. And I found out about 10 years later from my neighbor, who was a guy about my age, and his little brother. I said, well, how's Billy doing? And he said, oh, he's dead. And I said, well, what happened? And it turns out he was, I don't know, he was high on crack or, coke or whatever. And he and the old man got in a knife fight.
Thanks for the bits. Does your mom or dad do that? Sometimes my mom comes in, but you can't really hear her. But she comes in and she like gives like some context on something.
These are my next door neighbors.
Thank you for the bits. Thank you.
Yeah, your neighbor. Yeah, I remember him.
You remember that story?
Yeah.
And I told you stories about where I could go drinking when I was like 17.
Yeah.
I go to the bar and drink, and that whole road there, people died there every week.
Well, what are you trying to get at?
What I'm getting at is we were treated like a lot of the blacks were treated. And I would say we were white N-words,
Yeah.
And that's what people considered us. And so it's somebody brought up this point. I see it come up that it's not only being poor. I mean, there are communities where there are poor people and everybody gets along fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
But poor communities where that's not the truth. And I say, you know, like I told you, I've been in 3 fucking hammer fights. I did not start those hammer fights.
What the fuck?
But as you know, there are no dents in my fucking helmet. You know, I didn't get my head bashed in.
Well, there's the one in the front of your head.
That's from something else.
That's from
What
the
the
bottle.
fuck?
Yeah.
That's from the Coke bottle when the guy
Yeah.
put the bottle on my head. But
What the
and that stopped the fight because I was in a different place.
Yeah.
I was in a bar, and it was just, you know, I was in the wrong bar. You know?
Well, look, I want to get back to my stream. I got a lot to go over today.
But I'm just saying.
There was like one time. There was one time where he told his dad that. It was like, Dad, I gotta go back to my stream, and his dad said, "You stream so much, just shut up and listen." And I was like, dude, that was so funny. Anyone remember that? It was like a month ago or something like that. It was like a month or so ago. His dad was like, shut up and listen. I was like, holy shit.
Necessarily black.
Of course.
Really poor. If you're poor, cops, like I told you,
They beat the fuck out of Pete. That's what you said.
Yeah, they pulled Pete right through his. They had his window down. They said, "Roll your window down."
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pete's a big guy, and they pulled Pete out there where his arms were pinned and his head was sticking out of his car, and they beat the fuck out of him with nightsticks.
Yep.
And I said, "Hey man, what's going on?" And they give me a little whack, you know, just to get back. And hey, I'm not stepping up, you know. Sorry, Pete. And you know, Pete took the hit. And the kick in the ass is Pete's a big cop guy now. I told you, watch it.
Oh yeah, I know.
And it's like it never even happened to him.
Yeah.
That's how common it was. His uncle or whatever it was in South Georgia, when they'd have a uproar.
Oh. Okay.
But he just drive up.
Okay. Yeah.
And he pulls out his 38 or his, 44 or whatever it was. Bam, bam, bam. You know, shoot 6 of the guys in a riot and drives back home, and he only misses 5 minutes of the TV show. And that's the end of that.
Okay.
It was, I told your mom.
Yeah.
I can tell he's like trying to like move this along. He's like, okay.
On my old neighborhood, we got our new house.
Look at Asmin. He's like, oh my god, I need to keep streaming. I need to keep the stream going.
I said, don't be alarmed when you hear gunshots all through the night. That's just guys.
He's like so
expressing
antsy.
their opinion when they get home drunk.
Yeah.
And the wife starts in on them about the kids or something. And it's just a violent community.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie, Sam?
Well, look.
You see, this is why I have all of my stuff on silent. But, permanently. People can never call me because everything's on silent all the time.
Look, I want to get back to my stream.
I'm going to finish this.
He's like, I want to get back to the stream. Look at his face. Look at Asmongold's face, like right at the moment it happens. Okay, guys, watch. Look at his face.
Sam.
Well, look. I want to get back to my stream.
All right, here.
I'm going to finish this.
Did you see him? He like blinks and like he kind of leans back a bit. Like, look.
Well, look. I want to get back to my stream.
I'm going to finish this. Remember the movie, Sam?
Yeah, I remember it.
And Keanu Reeves went to this.
Oh, here for YouTube. I just watched your family convenience Townsend's makes for Hollywoods and sells them. Oh, really, Trooper Jim? I love Townsend. Thank you for the follow, by the way.
Black guy or
You're thinking? I don't think that's not Sandlot.
Fucking Stunlock.
You're
He's
thinking
CC'd.
of what's the movie? What's the movie called? The Keanu Reeves movie? Because we watched it in movie theaters. Hardball.
Hardball?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, because for community service, he had to be on a coach of a team. And he went to the people's apartment building, and he said, he's walking by, and the doors are open. People were just sitting there with the doors open. And he could see everybody sitting on the floor. And he said, why is everybody sitting on the floor? And it was a black.
Yeah, it's so yeah.
This happens to me sometimes when I get called. I get a call from family that just wants to catch up with me, but like I'm in the middle of work. Not like a stream, but like I'm in the middle of like writing. And the problem with like writing is you do not want to get derailed while you're writing, because when you're in the zone, when you're writing, you're like in the zone, and like you can, if you get knocked out of it, it's going to take you like 30 minutes to even like get back to like, to accelerate right back up to like that old, yeah, you're in like flow state, right? And then they call and I was like, okay. Like, oh, I need to tell you something. Okay. And then this happened. Okay. All right. How are you doing, by the way? It's fine. How is business? It's okay. But it's like, we should go hang out sometime. And, when are you gonna come visit? And I'm just, oh my god.
For the gunshots, I know.
Because they didn't want to get shot. And I thought, like, why the hell don't you go out there and shoot the shooters?
Yeah.
But no.
He's getting so, dude, it's so relatable because I know exactly the anxiety that like Asmund is feeling. Like I can connect to it and like I can feel it like in real time. Like you can like look at how he's acting. Look at how Asmongold's acting. He's like he's.
And I thought, like, why the hell don't you go out there and shoot the shooters?
Yeah.
But no. In the neighborhood
He's like, oh god.
They shot the shooters, But
Same.
It's the good people just can't step up against a lot of that shit. And then you got.
No, I understand. Okay.
And they foster it.
I know.
Things are tough.
I know.
But it's an ethos, and it's reinforced by the cops and by everybody who treats people like
because
that.
it's like his dad. He doesn't want to like be mean to his dad, right? Like he doesn't want to be mean to his dad, but it's like bro, like come on, man. Like,
yeah.
Like no, they don't.
Yeah.
Like they're not human.
I know.
This dude, he is fucking CC'd right now. Like he's hard CC'd.
I grew up like that, and so that's why.
And then the chat, you guys can't see the chat. The chat is just like let him talk. Why you look so upset? Relax. And it's like bro.
I moved you into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was a great neighborhood.
Dude, this is like sap. He got sapped.
We live in working class neighborhoods.
He just got sapped. He's sapped and the rogue is like eating right next to him right now.
Big house in the family place where they got
Yeah.
a homeowners association.
Look, yeah. Nobody wants to. Look, I want to get back to my show. I'll call you later. Okay.
I just I got a lot to say about
I know you do. So all right, I'll talk to you later. All right. Yo, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Giving me the hustle up, the bums rush, always kind of ticks me off.
I forgot it was your stream.
I understand. Well, that's right. When I'm on, it's my stream.
Holy shit! This guy's kind of a legend, actually. This guy's kind of a legend. Look at the chat.
I forgot it was your stream.
Look at the chat.
I understand. Well, that's right. When I'm on, it's my stream. And then it's you're managing it.
The chat is like Chad.
But when I come on, I get to talk. And so sometimes, usually I don't go on there quite this long, but you were pushing it, so I'm going on a little longer yet.
Oh my god!
So I will see you later, and I'll give Walmart a call about that battery.
You know what would have been really peak? It would have been so peak if he ends the thing with, "I love you, son."
Sounds good. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay, all right. Yo, bye.
That would have been like so fucking peak if he just ended it with "I love you, son." Oh my god,
So,
that would be so funny.
Anyway, yeah, that's what it was. And no, I mean, like, I to be honest, I know the uncensored version of some of these stories. I was on edge. What can I say? I was on edge. So, yeah. So that's what it was. But and he got a bunch.
I always feel that way when like someone's telling a story and I know it can go somewhere really bad.
More of those as well. No, it was. And anyway, so, and yeah, there it is, Mega Monologue. Yeah, I guess so, right? And more of the Coke bottle story. Yeah, basically. But that actually
Zevin, thank you for the bits. Classic dad takeover.
wasn't the one. But anyway, so did you get bananas fruit? I did. I did get the bananas. But yeah, so I do think, like, honestly, it's like those people are the ones that get affected by it. But you can see how like, but are we on the same page, by the way? That like this is definitely this is bad for fucking everybody.
Yep.
It's bad for fucking everybody, and it's being orchestrated by a clown. You shouldn't even be out. You should be in jail yourself. You shouldn't even be free in the first place. It's nuts, man. It's bad for everyone. No, it is. It absolutely is. And so anyway, racism is going to go to the stratosphere. Yeah, I know. But that's really the way. That's the way I see it, and it's just really sad for me to see this happen. And I just wanted to talk about it because I have a lot of opinions about this, and I think that honestly, I think that the way that I talk about it is the fair way to talk about it. And I think that most other people talk about it either from a position of fear or a position of bigotry. So, like, I don't feel like a lot of people give this the right take, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't give this they're not fair about this, right? They're trying to either say it in a way that makes one group happy, another group happy, or they're afraid of having, like, an extreme opinion because it could be taken the wrong way, right? And so that's the way I see it. And thanks, suicidal empathy people, for wishes of the best for someone and make it worse for everyone else. Yeah, I know, man. Yep. Absolutely. And it's not. Or sometimes worries people will come for you.
It's like the suicidal empathy. Look how cool. Look how nice I am. Such a nice person. I'm like so nice. I just full of love. I'll say it's just love, full of love. They fuck things up the most, those people.
People like this complain about me all the time on Twitter. Absolutely. They get mad about me all the time. But the fact is that I actually think that a lot of people, a lot of people really appreciate what I'm saying. And I think it's the vast majority that appreciates what I'm saying, and they appreciate the fact that I'm...
Hit me up, homie, if you want to play on Sunday. Some World War Z.
I'm talking about it in this way. Because they're like, thank fucking God, I'm sick of hearing a Klan rally or some, like, Black Panther speech or some other fucking racial undertone or some, let's make platitudes and never say anything that matters. I think people are sick of hearing that shit.
Yep.
They're sick of it. It's exhausting. It's annoying. So yeah, open season on white people. That's the thing, right? Is I don't talk about it like that. I talk about it in a way that I think is honest, direct, and fair. And I wish more people would do the same. But I understand why they don't. I do. I understand why a lot of
hold that thought, Alex. I'll answer that.
People are afraid to talk about it. They don't want to get into it the way that I do. And the main reason why, I'll tell you the reason why. It's because if you talk about this in the wrong way, people take it in that way and they call you a racist. Now, the problem for me is that I've already been called a racist 100 fucking times. So that's already, that's out the window. Like, the whole idea of, like, me not being a racist, like, that's done. And so they're scared of being canceled. Yeah, exactly. For me,
so, like, this stuff happens enough to you and you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Like, I've had so many of these controversies, hundreds of these controversies. It just doesn't do anything to me, right? It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think they should disbar this judge. Or I don't know. I mean, obviously there should be a process for this. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see how, like, when you're a judge, how is this not a misuse of judicial power by allowing a murderer to go free? that stabbed somebody with a knife. Really, like, how is it, like, how is that not a misuse of judicial power? Because, like, she's really the one, by the way, she's the one that has the power.
I feel like murder is going to be hard to get in this case. Am I the only one that thinks that? I feel like it'd be really hard to get that an actual murder charge on it.
And keep this in mind. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the power. She has
Murder is very plausible.
the power. And she used it in the wrong way.
In Texas, it's really... I see.
The bail money? I have no idea. So, yeah. And total psyop? Yeah, exactly. And, right, it's not like he's a child. Yeah, but he doesn't get to make the decision for what his bail is. She does. He's not accused of stabbing. He literally did it. Yeah, everybody knows it is. And, yeah, that's it. Crazy how he just looks angry and mean. Well, I mean, yeah, I would be mad, too. He just fucked up his whole life. And so you stab someone and you just bail them out. Yeah, I guess so, right? It's interesting. See, this is, again, like this.
Okay, yeah, I might be wrong on that. Fair enough, chat. Fair enough.
It's so disappointing for me to see this shit. It really is. Two-tier justice system. How does somebody look at this and not think that? Really?
That is the problem too. Is that even if it will 100% bring up that perception.
How does somebody look at this and not immediately have this opinion? She picked the easy answer, not the right one. I feel like the easy answer is don't do shit, right? But yeah, there it is. DEI higher judge, cold-blooded murder. I don't know if she's DEI higher. That's just because she's black doesn't mean that. It's a bit too much.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I think you'd like Tim Pool's take on this from what he saw.
The fact that people think that this is what I was talking about, guys. The fact that people see that judge and immediately say DEI higher, that is the bad thing about DEI, by the way. That is the point of DEI being bad. Is now everyone would see that and be like, DEI higher, right? Well, you don't know. How could you possibly know? There's no way to know. And they've created that precedent. And that's why it's bad. It creates a situation where that's actually likely.
He defended his self-defense. I have no stance on it. Be an interesting counter view.
One of the few reasons, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't really. I saw that he said that, but I don't know really why he said that or what the reason was. So yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, Poole called it self-defense. I mean, I don't know the details. I mean, from what my
wait, what? Tim Poole said for self-defense? Real?
Understanding was, like, I read 2 of the accounts of it, and the accounts were a bit contradictory. And so, like, I feel like the self-defense thing kind of, like, the strength of the self-defense argument, I think, gets very weakened when you contextualize it in the fact that he was in a place that he wasn't supposed to be in the first place, right?
It's not only that. Toxical, thank you so much for this here too, Mom. So thank you. Thank you so much, Toxical. I really appreciate it. It's not just that. It's also the fact that he engaged the situation, basically. He what's the word I'm looking for? He instigated. Yes, exactly. He instigated the risk. He instigated the thing, yeah. By threatening the other guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's trespassing in another person's area and like they want to remove him. That changes the dynamic for me, right? So yeah, should have never been there. Exactly. And what about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah,
I'm a huge supporter of Kyle Rittenhouse. I think that, I think he did nothing wrong. And
Me too.
So did the judge, by the way. Absolute W decision.
Me too. I actually 100%. I'm on Kyle Rittenhouse's side on that thing.
Yeah, so that
I was like, dude, I was like really scared for him actually, like watching that. I was like, man.
Opinion is.
Yeah, that's my opinion too.
Tim Poole changed his opinion about learning more, he said. That's okay. I mean, some people don't know everything right off the bat. And what a sudden reason
for he changed it? Oh, Tim Poole changed his opinion. Apparently. I can look into that later, but apparently he changed his mind. So
anyway, let's
people
move
can
on,
change
right?
their
I've
mind.
pretty much given my opinion on this, and I'll probably talk about it more as the information.
It's kind of rough because when you're a content creator and like you say stuff like you say stuff on stream like giving the information that you have, like things can change, right? And it's like people will still hold you to like an old opinion that you had, but then like you have new information now.
Comes out. But I just really hope that you guys can see that Like I think this is just it's so, like, as somebody who grew up, like, I feel like in a lot of ways, and I think some of this is informed by naivete, right?
I think Tim
like,
is okay.
naive.
Like I'm not like super I'm not like a super Tim simp, but I don't really dislike him. I do watch like his content sometimes when it comes up. Sometimes it does. I'm not like I'm kind of like whatever. I'm like neutral on it. I'm neutral on it. Like I think it's okay. But I'm gonna be real with you. I feel that way about a lot of political commentary right now because my favorite, like my political commentator Oshi, he graduated, and I'm really fucking sad. He was the best. He was the best, and like rarely had an L take. I'm so sad. I'm so sad, guys.
To the, you know, racial
so
problems
sad.
growing up. But as somebody who grew up in a place that really, I mean, at least personally, felt like way less racially divided, it's just really sad for me to see this. And I'm very opinionated about it because I grew up in such a multiracial neighborhood and culture. And so I have very strong opinions about this.
Thanks for the vid, Steam Slayer. Leaf, your biggest fan, made another debunking video on the. Okay, first off, I didn't call it that. I didn't call the video that. That wasn't me. I didn't title that video. I didn't title it the Snow Mexican video. But it's a pretty funny title, I'm not gonna lie.